You don't think if Ekeler goes down that
Okay, that's a
Kelley's
different story though. You can't
no,
just
no,
bank
no,
on
but
the
I'm saying
injuries.
well, no, but it's like my situation. I went out and got Snell because if Connor goes down like he just did, I think Snell's gonna be the guy. If Ekeler goes down, Kelley's gonna be the guy.
What's up, Fackers? We are back with our fantasy and chill. All right, week 1 has come and gone. Hopefully, everybody started out the year 1-0. We're going to recap week 1 real quick, and then we're going to get in to talk about a few things. Week 2 preview. All right, so let's just get right into it. We're going to start it off like we always do with our
Fantasy studs.
fantasy studs. Week 1 fantasy studs. And the first fantasy stud of 2020 is the wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Devonta Adams. He had 14 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 targets. All right, this is the Devonta Adams that everybody's been waiting for. Last year he was injured a lot, didn't really have these big, huge games like this. But Matt, as a Devonta owner, how happy were you with this production?
Very happy. I'm stoked. Can't you see on my face? No, I mean, when we talked about him, I think we all had a bet where you were picking Tyreek as number 1, Britt was picking Julio as number 1. I chose Devonta. We couldn't pick Michael Thomas if you didn't watch the video. So,
Yeah, he was. And I really got handed Julio, but I'll take him still.
Okay. You would have taken him anyways. No, but this is what I wanted from him. Like, we thought Rodgers might have the FU season. I mean, it's only been 1 week, but so far he's proven his haters wrong. Throwing it to him, what did you say, 17 times?
Yeah, 17 targets. It's pretty clear. Like, we already knew he was the clear number 1, but if you look at the target share here in Green Bay, he had 17. Next closest guy was 6. Far and away the number 1 target, Aaron Rodgers' top target there. If you had any concerns about the Green Bay offense going into the year after their kind of a tumultuous offseason with Aaron Rodgers, then I think all your worries have gone away with Devonta Adams. As long as he can stay healthy, I really don't see why he couldn't be number 1 this year, really.
Especially now with Thomas.
Especially now with the Thomas injury news we'll get to a little bit later. But, I mean, Adams, the chances there to be number 1. He's going to continue. He should have double-digit targets every game. As long as he keeps catching the touchdowns, too, then...
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Like, he's a monster.
How do you feel about him, Britt? You want him? I'll trade him to you.
I mean, no, you never buy at his ceiling, Jesus. But
This ain't his ceiling, man. We haven't seen his ceiling yet.
Well, he scored 40 points.
He hasn't hit the 20 targets yet that he's about to.
yeah, I mean, I guess his performance was great. It's just I was used to Devontae last year, and nothing really changed from this year to last year. I guess he is a little bit healthier, right? Didn't he have a nagging injury last year?
Turf toe last
Yeah,
year.
he missed some games last year.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, this is what we expect. I mean, am I expecting 150 yards, 2 touchdowns every week? Of course not. But as long as he's getting the target share from Aaron Rodgers, I love him.
I'm kind of expecting that, so.
I mean, he's never had a 1,000-yard season. So this is the season, though. He's like 15% there already.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
All right, let's get to our next stud. This is Britt's draft pick at the turn this year. Las Vegas Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. He had 25 carries for 93 yards and 3 touchdowns. We heard this offseason how they were going to try to integrate him a little bit more in the passing game. He had 4 receptions for 46 yards on 6 receiving targets. All right, so you had to love what you saw out of Jacobs on Sunday. Now, this was the Panthers, who are a pretty bad defense. I think Josh Jacobs was the consensus just about number 1 running back going into the week just because of this matchup. We knew this was going to happen. I guess one thing you can look at and say it wasn't too good was he didn't have a good yards per carry average. All right, but when you get 25 carries, that doesn't really matter, and 3 touchdowns. Like, the yards per carry doesn't really matter there. But he performed like everybody thought he would perform. I guess the main thing is, are they going to keep it up? Are the Raiders going to stay in enough games? Because, like we said, the Panthers are pretty bad. I'm really not sure how good the Raiders are. So when they play up the better competition, will they continue to run the ball?
Like next week. Against this week, against the
Saints. Monday night.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
Yep.
One of the stout run defenses, so.
Yeah.
Do you believe in him?
Yeah, I mean, who? Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs this week against the Saints.
I mean, like Keller was saying, the targets, 6 targets. I mean, I'm ecstatic about that. The yards per carry, yeah, it's a little down, but 3 touchdowns, I will take every single week. And so, yeah, his schedule does get. I mean, he's got New Orleans, who has a decent defense, New England, Buffalo, Kansas City. He's got some tough matchups coming up. So we will really see how good he is in this Raiders offense.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start him either way. And
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's a no brainer. I'm ride or
Yeah.
die right now.
If anything, that just makes you feel better about where you picked him. Because,
Exactly.
I mean, I think all three, well, actually, what was our attack?
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna ask Britt how many of these bots he sent to our last video on Josh Jacobs saying, "Oh, this aged well," because our thumbnail said "Do not draft."
Yeah.
But to be fair, the video came out before they traded away Lynn Bowden, who I was kind of worried about. It was them trading him away, just kind of.
I didn't really worry about any of that.
You were the only one worried about that.
No, but it was like them trading away a receiving back kind of showed that they are actually going to give Jacobs some of the receiving work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
I mean,
We're going to find out who he is in these next 3 games. So,
Yeah, but what you saw on Sunday was very encouraging.
yeah, I mean, he's a no-brainer start every single week.
Next stud, quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, 31 of 35, very efficient, 322 yards and 4 touchdowns. Also added the 3 carries for 29 yards. He just about single-handedly destroyed the Falcons on Sunday. They carved them up. Like the Falcons ended up making a game of it toward the end, just for how much they were throwing the ball. But I mean, the Seahawks look great. Russell Wilson looked great. He's a consistent top 5 fantasy quarterback. Will he do enough this year, though, to challenge the likes of Lamar and Mahomes at the top?
to challenge them, I think.
He could. If he continues to throw this much, 35 times a game, then yeah. I mean, he could easily be up there.
See, now that I'm looking at it, like 35 times against the Falcons isn't really that much. When you
No,
like,
but I'm saying if he does that every single game.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
their defense isn't that. I mean, I guess they did play a little bit better. Falcons kind of came on late.
Falcons defense
you know,
shit.
I know, but if the Seahawks defense is shit, then you know what I'm saying? Like, Russell Wilson, he doesn't turn the ball over very much. So if they're in shootouts, like, he could easily have 40, 50 touchdowns this year.
And the only problem is most of the defenses in his division are pretty good. 49ers, good defense. Rams
Yeah.
can be a good defense. Cardinals, I don't know. I'm playing them this week because of their matchup, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a good defense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we said all along, everybody knows there's a top 2 quarterbacks in Lamar and Mahomes. Who's going to be that third guy out of Wilson, Dak, Deshaun, and Kyler? That was our debate all offseason. Wilson has already separated himself from the pack a little bit. Will he keep it up and stay above those guys? Will he get close to Lamar and Mahomes at the end of the year? Or will there still be a distant third there, is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like Bray was saying, like, if they keep letting him throw like this, then yeah, I definitely can see him up there. The only problem is last year he was never like the times he was a bust wasn't because he was playing bad. It's because they just slowed down the game so much and he'd throw it like 20 times.
I mean, they ran the ball, 2 years in a row, the most in the league?
Yeah. So if they just continue to free rest, I think that's a hashtag going around or something like that. Then yeah, I can see him being up there. I don't know who they play next week.
They play the Patriots.
I just had it. Yeah, Patriots.
Oh, see,
Patriots are a good defense,
matchup.
so yeah, it'll be a good test.
it's a tough
So
matchup,
that-
but with these top 3 quarterbacks, you're always starting them. So
Well, it's not a question of start. It was mainly just the question of will he continue to put up these numbers.
well, we're not going to talk about him, but I know people are going to be considering not starting Deshaun this week because he's playing against Baltimore, and they're probably making a mistake.
Yeah, you start your studs. Always. say
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Next stud. Speaking of the Packers earlier, the quarterback. People thought this was going to go one of 2 ways. One, he was going to be pissed about them drafting Jordan Love and just wasn't going to give a shit. Or he was going to come out guns blazing and try to have his best season ever. And it looks like he has chosen the latter. Aaron Rodgers, 32 of 44, 364 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Packers on Sunday. This was vintage Aaron Rodgers, some of those throws he was making. We know he's got the connection with Devonta Adams. He had a touchdown to MVS and Alan Lazard. He even threw a touchdown to... Wait, never mind. I was thinking something else. But anyways, 4 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns to Devonta.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, vintage Aaron Rodgers. Well, we kind of only had him as a borderline top 10 guy this year.
Oh, but we all said he has the potential.
Right, but just we tended to go with like the running quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Which he's not. But if he throws 44 times for 4 touchdowns every game, then obviously he's back to being Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, the difference this game from last year was he had another wide receiver step up. And I remember Aaron Rodgers had some big games last year also, but I feel like every time he did, he had 2 wide receivers he could depend on. And I mean, if Adams is healthy, and then if Valdez Scantling and Lazard could take over that wide receiver 2 role, I mean, Rodgers could be a top 10 quarterback every single week.
I just can't wait to prove everyone wrong. I was commenting on Aaron Jones' videos saying that offense revolves around him. Jones, it revolves around Rodgers, right? And Rodgers going to prove it this year.
Yeah. I guess people are just getting confused because Aaron Jones did like win them games last year single handedly. Like it was like 3 or 4 games, I think. But yeah, I mean, Rodgers still runs his offense. I mean, we saw it this past weekend.
Yeah. All right, one last stud. What I kind of did, I know in the past I've kind of just taken like the top 6 guys and called them studs. I'm going to try to keep it pretty consistent. You have to score over 30 points to be considered a fantasy stud this year. So there was one more player that scored over 30 points this week. Pains me to say this because, man, we trashed him so many times in our top 100, top 101. But the Falcons' number 2 receiver, Calvin Ridley, had 9 receptions for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. Was this a product of Calvin Ridley being one of those top receivers, or was it a product of Matt Ryan throwing the ball over 50 times for 450 yards? Which one is it?
The latter. I think it's just because they were playing catch up, and he just kind of. I think both of his touchdowns were when it didn't really matter towards the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
we can admit when we're wrong. We're not going to do it right now, but
no,
continue.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong yet.
But like, I feel like we didn't like his ADP more than we didn't like the talent there. You know what I'm saying?
I think I have him ranked like probably 70 something.
Yeah.
And his ADP was what, 40 something. That was my only issue.
I mean, if he keeps putting up numbers like this.
But where you had to draft him, I did not like it. Now in our draft, he went in the 7th round, which was closer to where we had them.
Yeah,
but,
reasonable.
I mean, in some drafts, he's going 4th or 5th round. That just seems crazy to me. Now, like we said, he's scored over 30 points. He's the number 2 receiver in fantasy right now. We'll see if he keeps it up. Is he the top number 2 receiver in football? You could maybe say that. He's in the top 5 of number 2 receivers.
Yeah.
Gallup's pretty good.
You got Gallup. You got whoever's the number 2 in LA with Woods and Cup. I mean, there's a couple. You got Lockett, Metcalf, Boyd and Green, Evans, Godwin. I mean, there's some good duos, but he's up there.
The thing is with him, though, like we just mentioned, I forgot who we were talking about. The Falcons' defense is trash, so they're going to have to throw the ball a ton just to keep up with.
Throwing a bunch like he did on Sunday. Now I don't know if he's throwing over 50 times for 450 yards every week, but
yeah, I mean that was crazy.
They're going to be in some shootouts, and when they do, Brian's going to sling the rock.
Well, they play the Cowboys coming up, and that could be another shootout.
That could be another shootout. Yep.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to keep kind of a running tally of those studs every week, and at the end of the season, we'll see who was our top fantasy stud of the year. But our next segment, we're going to give a quick recap of our GFA week. We know GFA is our fantasy league that we have been in for 10 years now together with a few of our buddies. So we're going to have a quick GFA recap and our cheers segment. So Matt, go ahead and hit it.
This is where we get copyrighted, but it's worth it.
Okay, so Britt, go ahead and talk about your week in GFA real quick while I pour me a mat of cheers here.
Well, I mean, clearly, we already stated, I had Josh Jacobs. He carried me almost 34 points. I did have Matt Ryan, who we just talked about also. He had 26. Mixon didn't do it for me. DJ Moore had a decent day. Allen Robinson wasn't terrible. Jared Cook, solid. 5 catches, 80 yards. And I think his value goes up with Michael Thompson's injury. James Conner. I don't know where to start with him.
We also talk about him.
Hey, mainly I wanted if you won or lost, Britt. I didn't want a team rundown.
I'm just giving the rundown in my thoughts on my players. Because I know people out there have them. Connor, I spent 25% fab on Snell. Diggs did decent.
Speaking of that, if you didn't watch our waiver video from Monday, check that out. We talked about all the waiver ads for this week.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with Connor. I mean, when I found out Snell was getting the majority of the snaps, I was just like, damn it, this is a repeat of last year when I drafted Connor in the first round. So
Cheers is usually supposed to be a happy thing.
Well, I was mainly getting Britt to waste some time while I poured that. So, Britt, give me who's your cheers for the week? Who are you cheersing?
I mean, I think it's hands down Josh Jacobs. 25
Oh,
carries, almost 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, stud.
Yeah.
I
Probably
don't
the
have
only
him
guy
here,
you
but I
guys
have Gatorade.
have to restart this instrumental because you used almost the entire time. So,
All right, Matt, how about you? Who are you choosing this week?
well, you know, let me just go down my rundown real quick. Well, I had Josh Allen, Devonta Adams.
Safe to say, so
Decent.
Matt won and put up 160
60.
something points. Had the most points in the league.
Zeke, you
Pretty
know.
much everyone on his team.
I mean, just roll a dice.
Gurley didn't go off.
Yeah, Gurley had a decent game. But I guess
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
I'll cheers to my boy Josh Allen. Got his jersey coming in. If he continues to run 10 plus times a game, then he's basically going to be Cam Newton. And he plays Miami this week, who Cam Newton just scored 2 touchdowns against running. So expect Josh Allen 50-pointer.
Wow, okay.
Not really.
All right.
Maybe another 30-pointer.
All right, then I'm going to get to mine. I
Cheers.
did not have a good week. I lost to the team that drafted a quarterback and 2 tight ends with their first 4 picks in the draft. Okay, so I didn't score very many points. I think on Red Zone they threw out a stat. There were 67 touchdowns scored during Red Zone, so that's the noon and 3 o'clock games. My team scored 0 of those touchdowns, just to tell you how my day went. But I'm going to cheers my second highest score on my team, my tight end, Noah Fant. I kind of took a chance on in the draft. Solid. Had a touchdown with Sutton out, 16 points. The reason I'm cheersing him might be his last game.
I was going to
starting
say, I have
for
to
me
call you out.
because I used some fab on Dallas Goddard today. All right, I think Goddard has the better outlook. But, Fant, you played valiantly for me in a loss, okay? 16.6 points. I'll take that. So, cheers to you, Noah Fant.
Cheers. All right. All the cheers y'all get. Yeah, I was going to call you out for a second because you cheers and fan and then immediately just not drop him. But
He was good.
Oh, yeah.
He made it to where I felt like I wanted to have Goddard, but if I didn't get him, I didn't feel bad because now Fant showed he's playable.
Without Sutton, yes.
I think he'll still be playable just compared to we know how tight ends are, but yeah.
You
All
could
right,
have got Goddard for $1.
We just did our cheers to the guys that we were very happy with on Sunday. We did our fantasy studs, the guy that showed out. But we know that with fantasy football and in football in general, we do have injuries that come about, all right? And we had a few big names hit the old injury bug this week. So the first guy we're going to talk about, out for the season with a torn Achilles, Marlon Mack of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this is a very interesting injury. We don't like to cheer injuries here, all right? Sucks for Marlon Mack. But it does have huge fantasy implications because Jonathan Taylor, the rookie running back, is now, I mean, I don't want to be a homer because I have Jonathan Taylor, all right? But pretty much every article I read, he's a borderline top 10 running back rest of the season, all right? On that offense.
We'll see.
The carries he's probably going to get. Now, Nyheim Hines, we saw on Sunday, Nyheim Hines will be involved. He's going to get some carries. He's going to get some catches.
Jordan
but
Wilkins, too.
You always bring up these names that just are irrelevant.
They already said Jordan Wilkins is going to get. He might be like a couple carries, but they're going to give it to him.
Jordan Wilkins is not going to factor in, okay? Jonathan Taylor is slowly going to take over this job, and by the end of the season, he will be who I said in our Week 1 preview, my fantasy MVP, Jonathan Taylor, because of the Marlon Mack injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but it's awesome for Jonathan Taylor owners.
Did you call him the MVP before Matt got hurt?
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Jonathan Taylor video, and I'm pretty sure you weren't high on Taylor at all.
Well, that was like 2 months ago, and then I drafted him, so.
Okay. And then Mac just bailed you out.
Okay, so we talked
screwed.
about this already in our waiver video, but with Mac out, Hines was the popular waiver ad this week. He was a 1 or 2 guy, depending on how much fab you wanted to spend. But like I said, I think they're both playable right now. Hines is a flex because he's going to get some catches, especially in PPR. But Jonathan Taylor is going to be the starting running back. He's going to get the majority of the carries. He showed he can catch the ball. I'm very excited for Jonathan Taylor, if you can't tell. All right.
Yeah, if he keeps running 9 for 22 yards, yeah, you should be very excited.
Just wait,
I
man.
mean, he did have 6 catches, but yeah, I mean, the head coach, Coach Wright, already came out and said that Naheem Hines is still going to be a big part of the offense. But yeah, I mean, I agree with. I don't know about top 10, but because I think he would have to take over like a lot of the catching, receiving out of the backfield. But I could easily see him being an RB2 by the end of the year.
Let's say this: if Mack would have gotten injured before the season, Taylor's getting drafted mid-second round.
Yeah.
Mid-second, third, yeah. I could easily see that.
I'm saying like where Miles Sanders, Austin Ekeler, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Because CH got drafted 5 to 10.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the Chiefs, though. That was a little different.
Yeah,
that's why
situation.
Taylor's back a little further. They have a good offensive line, too.
Yeah.
Granted, they just lost the Jaguars. But
So basically what I'm getting at, if you have Jonathan Taylor, I had a buddy text me yesterday, wanted some advice. He got offered Mark Ingram and Hollywood Brown for Jonathan Taylor. I said, fuck no.
Yeah.
You're not trading Taylor unless you are getting an absolute stud in return, all right? His outlook is so high the rest of the season. So, yeah. Big stock up on Jonathan Taylor.
They play the Titans next week, and they kind of got, not ran over, but Melvin Gordon looked pretty damn good against him. So I expect Taylor to have a pretty good week.
And that's what I was going to bring up. Does this, I mean, like, so Phillip Rivers there, right? And on the Chargers, he had Melvin Gordon, kind of the rushing running back, and then Ekeler was the receiving running back. Do you think that's going to translate over with Jonathan Taylor being like the Melvin Gordon and then Naheem Hines being the Ekeler?
I can see that. I think Taylor will get a little bit more of the percentage than the Gordon-Ekeler split. But Phillip Rivers is one of the last few quarterbacks that loves to always have a dump-off running back available on third down. So, Hines, like I said, Hines is going to have a role, and I think he's a flex play. Like, if you started him, until I see differently that Taylor just completely gets everything, Hines is startable for me.
Hines isn't nearly as good as Ekeler is. You don't have to worry about him taking that much of a role from Taylor.
Okay, next big injury. This was a first-round pick, number 1 overall receiver. Michael Thomas goes down late in the game with a high ankle sprain. Originally, it looked like he was probably going to play this week, but then the news came out. Was that today or yesterday?
Today,
where they said the injury was worse than they originally thought, looking more like probably a 2 to 3 week injury. So with Thomas being out, Britt already mentioned Jared Cook, who already led the team in targets on Sunday. His outlook goes up. He's going to get more targets. And this really, Emmanuel Sanders, who was kind of fantasy irrelevant before this, just mainly because there's so many targets there. He's going to get a huge bump in targets, I think, as the number 1 now. You got guys like Traquan Smith, who could have some big games here and there. Kamara is going to continue to get balls. Taysom Hill, who they give 10 plays a game to. All right, but Thomas is going to be out, which sucks because if you drafted him, you probably used your first-round pick on him. Hopefully you have Sanders. Now, I don't think Sanders is going to get near the production that Thomas had, but I think if you have Sanders, you can probably start him for the next few weeks and feel okay about it. But, yeah, sucks about Thomas.
Emmanuel Sanders, I just had to Google it real quick. I knew he was 30 plus, but 33 years old. I don't expect him to be a wide receiver 2, even with Thomas out. I think he's still in that. I think you can start him as your flex and be okay with it, or like a wide receiver 3 spot, and you're fine with it. But the way Drew Brees plays, he's not a guy, with the exception of Michael Thomas, he's not a guy in the past that's just peppered guys. Like he'll spread it around. If you're open, he'll get it to you. So I imagine a lot more dump offs for Kamara. I think Jared Cook's a big play now. And
so I misspoke. I said Cook led the team in targets. Kamara actually had 8, which was the top. Cook had 7. Thomas and Sanders both had 5. All right, so take those 5 targets away from Thomas. It'll, like you said, though, it'll get spread out evenly probably between all the guys. Sanders is still probably looking at a solid 6 to 8 targets a game, okay? So
lower end,
yeah, if he can do something with that, then he can be fantasy relevant as maybe a wide receiver 2, but definitely probably a flex.
Yeah.
All right, next injury. You never feel good drafting him in the last 2 years. Since he's gone to the Jets, not been good. But Le'Veon Bell, there were rumors that he was going into the season with a little hamstring injury. He denied those rumors. Sure enough, though, in the game, he gets a little banged up. Hamstring injury. He's on the IR for 3 weeks. This year they got shorter IRs.
You know what happened during the game though?
What?
He came out with a hamstring injury, and like he told Gase he had his hamstring hurt, and Gase said, "Get back on out there," and he just fucked it up even more.
So he is out for the next 3 weeks. So the starting running back for your New York Jets is none other than the ageless one. Frank Gore will be drawing the start on Sunday.
Jesus.
Now, I didn't see him on many waiver wire reports this week, so I don't expect him to do much. They signed Bellage again from the Dolphins, who has a history with Adam Gase. If you remember Bellage, he had some fantasy hope at one point, but he was fucking terrible on the Dolphins.
I'm sure you can find it on Twitter somewhere. If you can find the Bellage highlights, just type that in from last year and just watch it, and you'll realize you don't want him on your team. So.
Like, I didn't like the backfield before Le'Veon Bell got hurt with Le'Veon Bell there. I'm not touching this at all. If you are super desperate in a super deep league like our 20-team league that we're in, and you need a guy to start in a flex, maybe you start Frank Gore just because you know if they ever get to the goal line, he's going to get goal line carries. But other than that, you're staying away from this backfield. Even when Bell comes back in 3 weeks, what are our expectations?
Not very much.
The thing you have with Bell though is you never thought like he was gonna be rushing for 100 yards a game. You were always hoping on like the five receiving or 5 receptions for like 40 yards, and that kind of sets you a nice little baseline for his rushing floor or his rushing. And you're not gonna get that with any of these other guys.
Not gonna lie, I had some ideas floating through my head the last few days of how to trade Blake for him.
Well.
But I don't think I have the ammo, or I might have the ammo. I don't know. I have to find out.
Buy low, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, so
they play the Niners this week too.
They play you're not touching any Jets. I would not touch Frank Gore, Bellage, or there's got to be
Adams.
Josh Adams. There's the other guy that played a little bit. So
he is on the IR, but it's only a 3-week IR.
Shorter IR this week, so he'll be back. But just kind of how we were talking about, I still don't feel good about Le'Veon Bell the rest of the year.
Nope.
All right, the next few injuries, not as major as those are 3 guys. Well, Mack wasn't a top guy, but his injury had huge fantasy implications. Thomas and Bell are top guys. The next few we're going to run through real quick. In Los Angeles for the Chargers, I'm getting all the old places. All right, these new places are messing me up. But we know that Austin Ekeler was the guy. But as we saw on Sunday, they still want to have this backfield share going on like they did last year. They just entered in. It was going to be Justin Jackson instead of Melvin Gordon. Well, Justin Jackson goes down. In comes Joshua Kelley, Matt's deep sleeper over here. And he looked pretty good in that Melvin Gordon role. He had a touchdown. I think he was
like 12 for 60.
I think he had 12 carries. I have that carry chart somewhere. So Joshua Kelley, pretty popular waiver wire ad this week. I picked him up for $5. Just took a chance on him. Dropped Kerryon Johnson. So I had some expendable guys there. But I think he's going to continue to factor in. He's going to get some carries. Now, Ekeler is going to be better than what he was on Sunday. He only had 1 target, right, which is the lowest amount of targets he's had in like 3 years, something like that. So Ekeler will bounce back. But I think Joshua Kelley has a role in this offense and going to take all the carries that Justin Jackson was going to get. We saw in the past Justin Jackson could play. Beginning of the season last year, him and Ekeler, like he played.
He played a little bit, yeah.
He was
Gordon was out,
He was decent. So now Joshua Kelley's going to take over that role. And, I think if you can pick up Josh Kelley for cheap on Fab or waivers, now it already passed. We mentioned him in our waiver wire segment, though, but hopefully you're able to do that. And he has a decent outlook for the rest of the season, I think.
I mean, do you think the Chargers are going to be able to keep it close like this? Like, they were playing the Bengals and only put up 16 points.
That's what worries me.
They're not.
I don't know.
They're not a good team, but they also play so damn slow that unless they're turning the ball over, it's going to be hard for another team to kind of run away from them.
I mean, we're going to see this next week.
Yeah, we're going to see this week because
Taylor's going to have to fucking throw the ball. And
they might get boat raced by the Chiefs this week, so we'll see.
Bruh, yeah, and I mean, the Chiefs can just control the ball now, especially with Edwards-Helaire there, so I don't know. Taylor just worries the hell out of me, and running backs are they're not tied to the quarterback, but their points are. I don't know.
The thing that gives me hope a little bit is that their defense is pretty good.
True.
But that's the only
it
thing, right?
yes.
Like they couldn't,
Only
like you
was
said,
going to go off of.
they couldn't put any points up against the Bengals. So what is that saying for the rest of the season? This is a guy you throw on your bench though and just keep him there
He's
for
a good
few
stash.
weeks.
Like I said, he was just a cheap stash for me. $5 out of our 200. 40% of my budget. I mean, 1/40th of my budget. 2.5%.
If you are the Ekeler owner, how much of a priority is Joshua Kelley?
Well, see, I don't think this isn't he's not a handcuff. This is kind of a split backfield. So kind of like how I felt. So as a Taylor owner, right? Nyheim Hines was the top guy, right? I was not going to pay for Nyheim Hines because I could never play Nyheim Hines with Taylor there. You can never play Josh Kelley if you also have Ekeler.
You don't think if Ekeler goes down,
okay, that's a different story though. You can't just bank on
but
the
I'm
injuries.
saying, well, no, but it's like my situation. I went out and got Snell because if Connor goes down like he just did, I think Snell's going to be the guy. If Ekeler goes down, Kelley's going to be the guy.
Right, but Snell and Connor have similar roles, whereas Kelley and Eckler's roles right now are completely different. Now, yeah, if Ekeler went out, Kelley would get even more. Huh?
I mean, in that past game, they both had, what did Kelley have, 12 rushes, and Ekeler had 19?
Kelley only played like 20 to 25% of the snaps.
Yeah, but I'm just...
I still think, yeah, obviously his value would go up if Ekeler went down, and you'd love to have him. But I think he's more of a... He's not more... I mean, he's definitely a handcuff, but he's not a traditional handcuff, whereas he's still playing now with Ekeler there. So I think it's a little bit different.
Chargers have shown in the past that they like using two backs. So even if Ekeler goes down, I could see once Justin Jackson gets healthy, him coming into a role. And the Steelers have shown in the past that they like using one back. So that's why Snell is like a handcuff that has the potential of being like bell cow.
That's what I think.
I guess, yeah. This isn't on that same scenario, but like Chubb and Hunt, like if Chubb went down, Hunt would be the guy, and they're both used differently.
Because Hunt's a beast.
Look,
I know
we're gonna get to
like,
Chubb and Hunt. Don't blow your Chubb load yet. Save it.
Alrighty.
Two more injuries. Devonte Parker, who was he emerged last year finally as a top fantasy receiver. He was already banged up going into this week, so much so that I was going to start him, but I pulled him out of my lineup, and I'm glad. Or actually, it didn't really matter. I was going to lose anyway, so it didn't matter. But he didn't do anything, and what he did is he hurt himself again, hurt his hamstring. All right, so Preston Williams' stock goes up. He was already kind of a sleeper wide receiver this year.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are going to be bad. They're going to be throwing a lot. All right, so if you have Preston Williams, I wouldn't say start him, but definitely like keep him on your radar.
The fortunate thing for this week is if you have Parker, you probably might not even start him anyways because they're playing the Bills.
And they played the Patriots last week. I didn't want to start him against Stephon Gilmore to begin with.
Yeah, so you got Tre'Davious White there, and you're probably going to sit him on your bench, even him and Williams, so just give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, but Devonte Parker will be back probably in a few weeks. Those hamstring injuries are tricky, so they're going to rush it back.
Damn, so many hamstring injuries
They're
this year.
soft tissue injuries. I mean, they hardly had any practice or warm-up for the season, so...
It's a preseason, man.
I said get rid of hamstrings, man. If I'm recreating the human species, I'm taking the hamstrings off. You probably won't be able to run, but hey.
Just make us all robots. Chips.
Isn't that I was thinking old Fox intros where they had the robots playing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the future, man.
All right, last guy. I had to throw him in here. He was my tight end sleeper for the year.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, he's sleeping all right. Cowboys tight end Blake Jarwin made it about 2 quarters before he tore his ACL. So just a quick rip for Blake Jarwin. I liked his potential. His backup, I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's not
Schultz.
important. Yeah, Schultz. It doesn't matter. All right. I like Jarwin's potential this year, but he's done. He gone.
He gone.
He's dead.
All right, last segment we're going to get to. This is a new game I just invented earlier today. Okay?
It might sound very similar to other games that people play.
But I
different.
thought of new words because I didn't want to be copying just everybody else. But this is called smoke or joke. All right? Because we know about smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Is there something there? Is it some smoke? Or is it just a joke? All right, get that out of here. That's a joke. All right. So we're going to go through and we're going to answer, is this a smoke or is this a joke? First one, Dallas Goddard is greater than Zach Ertz. Is that smoke or joke?
I think that's a joke. I think Ertz is still the guy there. I think Goddard did have a great week this week, but I mean, Wentz has no one to throw to really. So it could be Ertz or Goddard, but I still think Ertz is solid, the guy for the Eagles.
All right, I think I already know Matt's answer here. Matt was big on the Goddard train before the season, and he hated Ertz. So, Matt, smoke or joke?
I didn't hate. First of all, he's smoke, obviously. I didn't hate Ertz though. Okay, I still think Ertz has a
You didn't
spot.
like him at his ADP.
Exactly. I think he still has a spot, especially with all their receivers out. But like I said in the Ertz video, I think it was Dallas Goddard was getting the same amount of time or snaps that Travis. Zach Ertz was getting last year at the back half, and now he just got as many this past week and outperformed him. Zach Ertz is old, 29. Yeah, that makes me feel old. But yeah, he's older. Zach Ertz is Dallas Goddard is 5 years younger and doing the same thing he's doing. And Zach Ertz has this little contract issue now, so they can basically just get rid of him.
So Philly's like, okay, well, instead of paying you, we'll just give Goddard more production, then we don't have to pay you.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to answer this. As a math teacher, I'm going to change it up, and instead of greater than, I'm going to say greater than or equal to.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I just spent...
Smoke or joke?
Yeah, smoke or joke. We're going to call you out.
No, I think that's smoke, but I'm just changing the inequality. All right? As a math teacher, I can do that, okay? So I just spent $35 of my $200 on Dallas Goddard. I liked what I saw. I think he can keep up this production. The reason why I'm saying greater than or equal to is because I think they can both be just top 10 tight ends like they were this week. All right. Said the game script supported Kareem Hunt, but if you look at their snap share, all right, the snap share wasn't close. Where's my snap share? Here we go. I'm stalling. Snap share. Oh, actually, it was the same. I thought it was more, but Nick Chubb had 36 snaps, Kareem Hunt 35, but Kareem Hunt played a lot once they got down. Kareem Hunt fumbled at the goal line. All right, so I think this is still Chubb, and I think they're going to make a statement tomorrow night. And they're going to want to get Chubb heavily involved, and he's going to have a classic Chubb game. I'm calling over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns for Nick Chubb tomorrow.
Love it. I don't know about 2 touchdowns, but maybe we'll go with 100 yards, a touchdown, and then let's add in a few catches for 20, 30 yards and get all these Hunt lovers off of us. But yeah, look, this is a joke, but I just think maybe they were saving Chubb a little bit. They know he's the guy. I mean, they were already down big. They're not going to come back. The thing that worried me more for Chubb was Baker Mayfield looked like shit. And that's what kind of Matt was saying. The game script favored Hunt. And I don't know. That does worry me a little bit if I was a Chubb owner. But, I mean, I'm saying it's a joke. Chubb's still the guy there. I think he's going to finish as a top 10 running back. But that Cleveland offense worried me, man.
Looked bad. Well, it's tough. You're playing maybe the top team in the NFL, top 3 or 4 teams.
I know, but no, because remember last year they smoked Baltimore.
Yeah, they played them well last year.
Chubb had they were the only team to put up 40 points on them.
Well, they're playing the powerhouse Bengals this week.
Yeah,
so.
like I said, if they look like shit tomorrow night, if you're a Chubb owner and he doesn't do anything tomorrow night, you are smashing that panic button. Right now, I think you're okay. Tomorrow night, Britt, if he goes out there and has the same game he had on Sunday tomorrow night, you are full-blown panic mode as a Chubb owner.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm going to say. But I still think it's a joke. All right, next smoke or joke. John Brown is greater than Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, the new acquisition in Buffalo this offseason. I personally thought that John Brown would kind of fade into oblivion and Stephon Diggs would just take over this completely. But as we saw on Sunday, maybe Diggs and what's-his-face, Josh Allen still have some getting to know each other to do. But John Brown had a great game, caught a touchdown. Should have had 2 if Josh Allen wasn't just a complete terrible quarterback and threw it about 20 yards
good
over his
fantasy
head.
Quarterback, though.
Yeah, good fantasy quarterback, not too good. Real quarterback.
He did realize he was open on the first touchdown, and there was no one guarding.
Okay, congratulations. You saw that your receiver was open.
Hey, I'm just saying. It's a step up from last year. Hey, his first 300-yard passing game too.
Wait, I didn't answer the question though. This is a joke. Diggs will get it going with Allen. They'll be fine, I think.
Yeah, I mean, joke to me also. I mean, if you take away that one touchdown, then Diggs had a better game, and I think Diggs still finished. I have him in fantasy. I should know this. 8 catches for 86 yards on 9 targets.
Yeah, so still
So
a good
he had a
game.
better day than him. Take away a touchdown, yeah.
If we're
But
looking at
I
the
mean,
targets, Brown had 10, Diggs had 9.
yeah, and if I own these guys, I'm just happy Josh Allen threw for over 300 yards. It was the Jets defense, but that is promising. He looked a little bit better. Some terrible throws in there. Don't get me
Terrible
wrong.
fucking throws. But
Looked like
Yeah, I
a
mean-
very good Mitch Trubisky.
he just kept like, we know how he likes to scramble. He would scramble, get out of the pocket, have some room, and all he would have to do is take 2 more steps and set his feet. And it's like he just kept trying to throw on the run, and his accuracy on the run is terrible. Just set your feet,
Ryan.
and you have touchdowns.
I'm going to ask you this, Matt. You probably know this, so don't answer. How many carries did Josh Allen have?
He had like 12, I think.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah,
Damn.
you forget I'm a Singletary owner, Britt. I was heavily involved in those Buffalo carries.
That's why I
Yeah,
said
Matt-
if he keeps getting 10 plus carries, he's basically like what Cam Newton was a couple years ago.
He's Cam Newton
No,
light.
I also think it's a joke. But I want
You
to
set me up. I had to do
I know.
it.
I was just trying to blow past it. I
was a
want to
good-
mention though that I did say John Brown wasn't going to go like to the bench basically when Diggs came over. I still think he's going to command a lot of targets.
So smoke it.
Yeah, Brown's
I
talented.
said joke.
Okay. All right. Britt made me add this guy to the waiver wire list and then didn't even pick him up. But is Myles Gaskin greater than Jordan Howard and Matt Breida? Smoke or joke?
Well, Britt, you better say what you're thinking.
I don't know, man. Look, I mean, let's be honest. New England has a good
No,
defense.
smoke or
They had
joke.
last year. Okay, I'm gonna say it's smoke because, man, he was very efficient. Averaged 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. No, what is that? 4.5. And then he had 4 catches, 26 yards. I mean, Jordan Howard, 8 carries, 7 yards. He did have the goal line touchdown.
Basically, that's all he
Breida,
is.
I don't understand Burrito though. Like, what the? You gonna sign him and then give him 5 carries? I don't
Look, what
really
pisses
understand
me off,
that at all.
and I'll let you finish if you still have something to say. But I read on something, it was on Twitter or something. One of the coaches came out and said they want to use Breida more. It's like, dude, you're the coach, right? This you can play him as much as you want. Like, I don't get it when coaches say that.
And I
Oh,
mean,
is that a
versus a
smoke or joke?
tough defense,
The whole
9 carries,
backfield's a
3
joke.
yards, 4 catches wasn't bad.
Everything's a joke. in
Everything's
Miami.
a joke in Miami.
But
Don't-
is Gaskin greater than Howard and Breida? Smoke or joke?
joke. I still think Breida is probably the most talented there. He just can't stand the
I'm
field.
going to agree that there's a reason they went out and got Jordan Howard and Breida, so I'm saying joke also. But I'm going to give you one alarming stat here for the Miami backfield. All right, if you're concerned with the Miami backfield, which, like we said, probably don't even invest in them, but if you are, here's the snap counts on Sunday. Jordan Howard, 9. Matt Breida, 14. Myles Gaskin, 39. All right? He was out there for about 2/3 of the snaps, basically. All right, so take that as you will. I still think that once they get some more time together, Jordan Howard and Breida are definitely going to be more integrated in the offense. But, I mean, this was Myles Gaskin's show on Sunday, so.
Do I drop
Was it
Philip
a
Lindsay
show?
for him?
As your friend, I'll say no. As someone in the fantasy league with you, I'll say yes.
Good answer.
All right, we got 2 more smoker jokes to get to. Smoker joke. This is another one of Britt's guys that he drafted. J.K. Dobbins is greater than Mark Ingram. Britt, you lead us off. This is your boy.
Look, Mark Ingram was terrible. 10 carries, 29 yards. I remember it because it was so bad. And I think Dobbins ended up with, I'm trying to pull up the game real quick. I think it was something like 12 carries. Let me see. No, 7 carries for 22 yards. But the thing is, he got the goal line touches, 2 touchdowns, ended up with 14 points. That backfield is still crowded, but Edwards only got 4 carries, and then Justice Hill was not even in the game hardly. And so that's very promising as a Dobbins owner. I'm not doing anything right now with him. I'm sitting him there, and I'm gonna say this is Wait, how'd you have it worded? You had Dobbins over Ingram,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'm gonna say smoke
All right.
because I think Dobbins will be the guy. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen this week or next week, but by the end of the year, I think Dobbins is the guy in Baltimore.
I'm right there with you. I'm going to say smoke also, mainly because he's already doing this as his first game. He's a rookie. We know it takes a little time to get them going. Ingram is a guy. He's older. We already said that he was probably going to lose his reins on the job this year. If you look at the snap count, Dobbins already had 23 to Mark Ingram's 21. Right, he's already getting more snaps. I think, like Britt said, as the year continues to go on, he'll get more and more involved. And by the end of the year, just like I think it's going to be all Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, it's going to be all J.K. Dobbins on Baltimore by the end of the year.
Yeah,
I don't know if
and
it's going to be all. I'll agree. I think it's smoke with Dobbins being greater than Ingram, but I think you're going to be disappointed a lot of weeks starting Dobbins if you have to. Because the way the Ravens, look, you had the snap count spot out here. Gus Edwards didn't have that many carries, still played 15 snaps.
Well, my point is that it's week 1 for a rookie.
Yeah.
He's going to get more and more as the season goes.
You remember Buck Allen?
That's different.
I don't know if it is.
That was Alex Collins. Come on, he ain't J.K. Dobbins.
But Mark Ingram, he's still decent. He had a good year last year.
I think Mark Ingram's will be the Gus Edwards.
Hold on. Ingram had a good year because he was so efficient last year.
Yeah.
His touchdown percentage was crazy. And if he loses a little bit of a step, like you said, he is getting older. As a Dobbins owner, I know I am biased, but I remember this all offseason. The Ravens, remember when the Ravens took J.K. Dobbins? We were like, what the fuck? They don't need another running back. And then they were like, we had him graded as a first-round talent. And they took him. That's where they had him graded. And, if they're going to sit there and tell you that he's that talented, why are they not going to play him?
No, they're going to play him. They're also just going to play these other two guys as well.
I know, but people also said Justice Hill and Gus Edwards are going to have a huge, or at least a split share. And like Kelley was saying, the snaps, it was basically Dobbins and Ingram. There weren't many passes
Gus
to the
Edwards
running
had
back.
15 snaps.
Huh?
Gus Edwards had 15 snaps. There was only 7 behind J.K.
Oh, I thought what did you say J.K. had, Keller?
23. It's 8. His math's a little off, but the point is still.
It is a little off. Yeah,
You're 8. Yeah, you're fine.
Look, I'm not saying it happened immediately, but I'm saying if Ingram did get nicked up last year, and if he misses a step, Dobbins, when they drafted him in the second round, and they didn't even need a running back. That was the thing that kind of stood
You
up
also
to
have
me.
to factor in Lamar Jackson stealing a ton of rushing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think that helps the running back though too.
All right, last smoker joke. Adrian Peterson of the Detroit Lions is greater than DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson.
He's still playing, man.
Smoker joke.
If Gore can make our list somewhere, then so can Peterson.
Hey,
yeah, Jesus.
Peterson looked great on Sunday. He had some
we talked about
big runs. Yeah, we talked about it on the waiver. Just like we talk about these rookies, this is eventually going to be DeAndre Swift. Now, for the time being, that was a little concerning seeing Adrian Peterson get that many carries on Sunday. Now, this was a game where they were dominating and up big, so they were running the ball most of the time. Now that they lost the game, mainly in part because DeAndre Swift can't catch the football. But I will say, man, this is close for me. I think Kerryon Johnson's just about done. I'm going to say joke, though, and this is DeAndre Swift's.
You just call Adrian Peterson a joke.
I said the situation.
I also think it's a joke. And you'll find out this Sunday when they play the Packers.
Sure.
I think they play Sunday. Yeah. Peterson's probably going to... We saw it at the Redskins, too, when Peterson was there. If they ever got down, he just wouldn't get out there much. And you're going to see that with Swift coming out. He's probably going to be the better running back overall in the season.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that worries me is how Matt Patricia has used his running backs in the past. He did kind of devote a lot of carries and touches to Kerryon when he was healthy. But yeah, Swift's the guy there. I'm saying joke also. But can't forget about Kerryon. He did look bad this game, but he is still there. And just to your point about Dobbins being in kind of a committee, this could be the same shit with Matt Patricia.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've seen him do that with just rotating guys in and out, like Garrett Blunt, all kinds of different, Bo Scarborough, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's based very similar to the J.K. Dobbins, but Dobbins and Ingram obviously have a better run offense than the Lions do.
All right, so with that wraps up week 1, gets you ready for week 2. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe on the Apple Podcast app. And we will see you next week. Hopefully everybody starts 2-0. And we out.
We out.
We out.